welcome to the SDGs and prosperity. In this block, we are going to look at the SDGs that are related to prosperity. 7. Affordable and clean energy. SDG 8. Decent work and economic growth. SDG 9. Innovation, industry and infrastructure. SDG 10. Reduced inequalities. And SDG 11. Sustainable cities and communities. So we're going to start off with SDG 7. Affordable and clean energy. The underlying principle of this SDG is to ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable and modern energy for all. So we start off with a few key facts and statistics here. So as we're all familiar with the global electrification project, which has been going on for many, many years, there has been a magnificent progress globally up to quite recently, but because of the challenges of reaching the hardest to reach places on Earth, progress has slowed down somewhat. So you can see that between 2010 and 2020, there was about 500 million people were put on the electric grid, whereas the difference between 2020 and 2030 is about a tenth of that. You're talking about 50 million people. So progress has slowed due to issues in reaching hard-to-reach places. International financial flows to developing countries for renewables has declined for a second year in a row. That was up to 2019. If you look at the longer floating moving point averages, the actual trend has been downward since 2008. So this is a worrying trend, which will need to be reversed for many reasons. Progress in energy efficiency needs to speed up to achieve the global climate goals that we are setting for ourselves. And the annual energy intensity improvement rate from approximately 2010 to 2019 was about 1.9%. That would need to be actually more than 3.2% if we want to achieve our goals. And unfortunately, that challenge is even larger in the Irish context, which we will be looking at in more detail in the block that deals with SDG 7. Total renewable energy consumption increased by a quarter between 2010 and 2019, which is very impressive. But the share of renewables in total final energy consumption is still only 17.7% in 2019. That's a global figure. The Irish figure is only 13.6%. And that was recorded in 2021, which actually hadn't increased from 2020 either. There was a modest increase in the previous year. So globally, Ireland are still significantly lagging in their percentage of renewable energy. So while it's a huge goal and a massive undertaking, global affordable and clean energy has only 5 targets. The first target, by 2030, ensure universal access to affordable, reliable and modern energy services. Energy is needed for individual survival. It's important for the provision of social services, education and health. It's clearly really important. The indicators for this target are the proportion of population with access to electricity and the proportion of population with primary reliance on clean fuels and technology. They will both be reviewed and looked at to monitor the target, to monitor progress on this target. Target 7.2 by 2030 increase substantially the share of renewable energy in the global energy mix. Which countries do you think have the highest proportion of renewable energy? We'll be looking at this in detail later. Which countries do you think don't benefit as much from renewable energy, and why is that? This particular target will be reviewed by the renewable energy share in the total final energy consumption on a national basis. Target 7.3, by 2030, double the global rate of improvement in energy efficiency. Clearly, improving energy efficiency is required to mitigate climate challenge, improve energy security and grow economies while delivering environmental and social benefits. The indicator that will be used for this is the energy intensity measured in terms of primary energy and GDP for each country. I'm glad to report Ireland is doing well on that score, and we will be looking into more details on that later on, but there are still significant challenges to be met. Target 7A, by 2030, enhance international cooperation to facilitate access to clean energy research and technology, including renewable energy, energy efficiency, and advanced and cleaner fossil fuel technology, and promote investment in energy infrastructure and clean energy technologies. In order to achieve this, we need to work internationally and we need to sort of support everyone to get more expertise and capacity in relation to energy research, energy technologies, and access to renewable energies. The way we will support this is international financial flows to developing countries in support of clean energy research and development and renewable energy production, including in hybrid systems. Target 7B, by 2030, ensure the universal access to affordable, reliable, and modern energy services. Clearly, a very important aspirational target. The monitoring of this will include the view of the installed renewable energy generating capacity in developing countries, and that would be measured in watts per capita. So there you can see it, 5 targets, all of them really important. Energy, of course, is a really important target overall because most of the energy production that we do, apart from the renewables and the nuclear, are the main source of CO2 emissions globally. So that is a very key target to, or a very key goal to address.